I'm going to talk about, in under 16 minutes, because my podcasts go on and on, we'll set it to 16. We'll talk about words and word meanings and the importance of saying what we mean and being aware of how the meaning of words can flip, can change. So if I am saying, well, I kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, really, well, this is called vague speech, vague. And vague speech is, it doesn't, immediately convey what we mean, and, well, I'm kind of like, well, sort of, kind of. This is called vague speech. Now, some people may enjoy vague speech, it's kind of cool and whatever. But when we're expressing concepts and thoughts, we need to be aware that we can speak, clearly and communicate our ideas effectively, which means often avoiding as much vague speech as we can. I'm now going to introduce this idea of what are called contronyms. Contronym. A contronym is when people use a word and they use it as a diametrical, i.e. complete opposite of what the word is supposed to mean. And a contronym it's called. So Michael Jackson, God rest his soul, had an album called Who's Bad? Who's Bad? Well, bad is something that is, not desirable. A bad book, a bad movie, a bad result is not desirable. So how can a word bad come to mean good? It's complete psychotic thinking that you say it's bad, but you're trying to mean it's good. There are other words like this in this family which have come from, from street culture. I'll say often it's urban culture, and it's come up into, educated norms, the way you'll hear people. I had a friend of mine, an ex-friend, and he said, "Oh, I dropped 10,000. Well, pesos. I'm in the Caribbean. Like I dropped $800 on my girlfriend," and I'm like, "What? You dropped it? Where did you? You dropped something? Where did you drop it?" But then I realised, or much further down the road, that by drop, he meant he'd spent. So instead of saying, I spent $800 on my girlfriend, he said, I dropped, meaning that he had spent, consumed. So, dropped, you dropped. And then other words like, hey man, well, that's wicked. That's wicked. Well, wicked is, if you say wicked to a Christian or a Hindu or a Buddhist or a spiritual, but wicked was always something bad, was something undesirable. So, hey man, that's wicked. We're saying wicked, something that's evil and distinctly bad and wrong is again good. So how can something that's wicked be good? There are other words in this family that go that, hey man, that's sick. Well, they say sick meaning to me that's really cool. So all these words which are fundamentally have negative, denote negative things. Denoting, okay? Denoting means the dictionary term of the word, denote. So, wicked, bad, sick, they're all supposed to mean now something that is inherently good, desirable. Well, who in their right mind would desire to be sick? Who in their right mind would rather prefer to be a good person than, say, a bad person? But when you drop something on the floor, you drop it, oh, I've dropped that. Now you're supposed to mean it means spend. So these are called contronyms, and people are using words and implying them. But if you go into most environments, these words are just illogical and nonsensical to use them in this sense, because how can we take a word and so this culture is anarchical, and by anarchical I mean it is their anti-establishment. It is a statement of antipathy and against the social norm, as a statement of a rejection of the values that a lot of us will share. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean a political or an economical rejection, but for example, in, say, religion, you'll take the word, good is something, good. And good is something that is desirable, to be a good pilgrim, to be a good person, a Christian. We have values of faith, hope, charity, kindness, patience, tolerance. You can see the word tolerant, where is it? Up there, tolerant, yeah, tolerant. Happiness. So, it's a challenge. It's trying to threaten. They see it as, oh, the word gay in England until 1950 meant to be carefree, happy, merry, and joyful. And the homosexual community have taken the word, appropriated it, so the non-gay community can no longer use the word gay. They've taken it, a word would make happiness and joy and carefreeness. For example, I, being a heterosexual, I can no longer use the term to express carefree and happiness. Where you go, well, that's okay, and I'm not homophobic. But the fact is that words can change their meaning. I'm in the Caribbean, Latin American countries, so you get background noise. But now that doesn't mean I'm saying I'm anti the homosexuals, but we're not allowed to say it. Another word, for example, in spiritual terms, to be transcendent means to be arisen, to be awoken, to be detached and free from, say, materialism and objective reality. You enter into a spiritual, subjective reality whereby you transcend the chains of the material world around. So transcendent, and also another key spiritual term is the transience of human nature, things like the seasons, the winter becomes the spring, and spring enters into summer, and summer then transitions into autumn. The day, the night, the day, the cycles of the planets, everything, there's a rhythm, and there is a, and so on life, often including our own lives, is transitory. Okay, so what happened with the homosexual community? They've taken the word gay, appropriated it, and what's going on now is that the transsexual, transgender, transsexual are trying to appropriate the word trans. But I find that really offensive, because I use the word trans to refer to transcendent, the transitory nature of the world we live in, which is, if you're interested in Buddhism and Hinduism, it's a tenet, it's a main concept. Talk about transitory. So when we use words, do they have an inherent, do they denote, have a value, or do we say that words can evolve and change over time? Well, of course, sometimes the meaning of words, which is what we're referring to, can evolve. The term atom, a is a negation, like anarchy and anti. Meant not, and tomos meant to cut. So scientists used to think that there was nothing beyond a physical atom. It was uncuttable. But we still use the word atom, even though we know within inside the atom there are quarks and mesons and bosons and antiquarks and electrons, protons, neutrons, etc. We sort of got atom, but literally it's become beyond what it was originally designed to do. But words must have some inherent truth. Words must have some value, and some people, one school says that we shouldn't corrupt words, you shouldn't twist their meaning into something else. So a lot of positive, good words have been twisted and turned into a negative. So they've gone from a white positive sound meaning to twisted into a negative meaning. But so we're twisting positive words into negative words, and negative words into positive words, which to me is just absurd. I'll give you a couple more interesting, because words are interesting, right? The term sanctimonious. Well, if you say someone is sanctimonious, they say they imply, oh, he's sanctimonious, so he's over religious, he's spiritual, he thinks he's better than I am. He's such a goody. He knows how to. Oh, he's so sanctimonious, so self-righteous. But that is coming from an unspiritual person, because they're trying to belittle and negate a spiritual person, because sanctimonious means a person that is attentive to respectful and treats things in a sacred way. So, for example, a candle, an altar, an image, or something that, whatever it is. Say, even it could be, some pagan ritual by a well. They're attentive. They take care of their spiritual practice. So sanctimonious now, they've labelled it and given it a stigma so that it has a negative meaning. But it always meant it to be sacred. And the word sacred, sanctimonious, saint, and sacrifice also if you want. But all of these SAN words like sanctify, sanctimonious, sanctity, the sanctity of somewhere, they all relate to the Latin sacrus, meaning to be holy. Parsimonious, parsimonious, sanctimonious, parsimonious, originally meant to be careful and economical with your money, to look after your financial money, manage yourself properly. And then it's this positive word about looking after your money and managing your purchases, for example. They've taken it to mean you're miserly, you're stingy, parsimonious was a positive word. There are other words, but I've hopefully shed some light on how words can denote something in a dictionary, but then be corrupted, if you want, or twisted into a totally different meaning, such as bad is supposed to mean good, wicked is supposed to mean what? Sacred, or good. Hey, that's sick, meaning that is supposed to be healthy. It's all psychotic. You know, good is good, bad is bad, wicked is evil. I better stop. But then sick, yeah, sick. Well, sick is a really awful thing. You go into a hospital and then the guy's sick and say, hey man, you're sick. Means you go well. Or you someone steals something. Hey man, that's really wicked, man. Wow. So without putting forward any kind of like, I'm not descend into rude words. It's just ridiculous how meanings of words can change. Thank you for your time, and I hope you appreciate the new backdrop that I have done. It's been an evolution, and I look forward to sharing a lot more of these shorter podcasts with you in the forthcoming weeks. Thank you.